Hello, everyone. Bula Bula. We love our Bula bottles. But my name is Blake Graham, and we're here for this product training call and webinar for Wakaya Perfection. And we're going to be talking about the amazing calcium bentonite clay today. So I want to thank everybody that's here on the line with us, everybody that's called in, and everybody that's going to be watching this recording. It's a fantastic time to be involved with Wakaya Perfection. We love the timing. We love the products, and we're here to tell you more about those products so that you can experience some of the benefits and help other people experience the benefits too. Now, remember, these webinars are designed to be recorded so that it's not just an event for you to learn now, but you can learn again later and you can share it with your team as your team grows so that other people can get this same information. And we want to encourage everybody to make use of that. So let's jump into it. This Wakaya Perfection product training call about the amazing calcium bentonite clay. Now, one thing to understand that Wakaya Perfection really has a reason that it's called Wakaya Perfection. It was started by the billionaire David Gilmour, and he says, a good product isn't good enough. You've got to strive for perfection. You've got to strive to do the best. And this gentleman actually came with over 500 different companies that were already selling water and created the premier water in all the world called Fiji water. And many of us know that brand, and it's the best water out there. And that's why so many people love that water. And really, it's in many ways, when you talk about the premier water, it'll cost more than some of the other brands, but so many people buy it just because it's that much better. Well, for Wakaya Perfection, he actually says this is going to be an even bigger company. And he talks about the reasons why. And when we look at the products and what the offering is, it's so much more than just water. We can impact people in so many more ways. We're looking for enjoying simple and delicious ways to detox, hydrate, lose weight, and feel great with Wakaya Perfection. And today we're going to talk about this amazing calcium bentonite clay, a gift of Mother Nature that was born from ancient volcanoes over 43 million years ago. Now, clay has been used for centuries to promote better health. So many of us have heard of clay. We may know people who have been using clay. You may have heard of people anciently using clay actually as a supplement because of all the different things that can be in clay. And there's a lot of different types of clay. And how clay is formed is there's an ancient volcanic eruption over 43 million years ago that spreads ash and lava over the lush earth and the salt lakes. And as it hits the water and the hot ash fell, it boils and stirs the water into an ash in it like a primordial recipe, if you would. This is kind of Mother's Nature's way, or if you would, our Creator's way of bringing to us some amazing things today. And as ash continues to fall, a ash fell on top of the mix, and it seals the ash underneath it for millions of years. And this is actually how clay is formed. And when this volcanic rock cracked, a pure source of calcium bentonite clay was discovered. Now, I had spoke with a young lady. Many of you know her as the Clay Girl, Jamie Kidd, and she had explained that in many cultures that this calcium bentonite clay is regarded as some amazing health properties. I don't know if anybody has heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, but it was actually discovered, this papyrus, from centuries and centuries. I mean, we're talking like thousands of years ago, that had been preserved because it had been encased in this mine that was created out of calcium bentonite clay. And that has great preserving properties. One of the things that happens with calcium bentonite clay is because of the negative ionic charge, it will actually pull in positive ions. Well, what are positive ions? Positive ions are often the things that we think of like free radicals, the things that will cause aging, the things that can be damaging to the body, the bad bacteria, the mold, the funguses, viruses, anything that's aberrant or strange or has been adulterated, if you would. The things that have transformed so they're harmful tend to be positive charged, and it draws them in. And this wonderful clay is powerfully pure and effective because it can not only draw it in from the environment, which helped to preserve these scrolls, but it can draw it in from you and me topically, whether it's on the surface or within our bodies. And it helps to pull these toxins out and give our bodies increased ability to not only detox, but actually increase healing. Now, one of the things that I've had the opportunity to do with my experience in Japan is there has been some studies right now going on at the University of Kobe, and they talk about this Bohr effect. And the Bohr effect, if you look it up, it's BOHR. It's respiration of the cells. And they say if you can impact the Bohr effect, if you can help the cells respire more, in other words, you'll wake the cells up, you get increased healing. And currently they're doing research on this effect using a different substance that they've created, but on that effect with a number of diseases at the University of Kobe here in Japan. And I thought it was very interesting because the same things they were talking about with the Bohr effect are things that we are seeing with this clay. Because as the clay pulls these impurities out, the cells kind of get woken up, they get activated. And many of you, as you put that clay on your face, you put it on the back of your hand, you feel kind of a tightening sensation as it's pulling these things out. And as that happens and the cells are waking up, who doesn't want younger cells, right? What can that lead to? We're talking younger looking skin. We're talking increased healing time. We're talking so many amazing things. And I'm going to show you some of those uses that we have of it today. But we talk about it, and there's really three ways that we use it. I talked about two, but it's internally. And you take the clay powder, and it's available in the glass jars, or when I came to Japan, I brought the plastic jar because it travels a little easier. But you can use that and put a scoop, 1 teaspoon and 2 ounces of water. You could use more water if you'd like to, and mix that up and drink that in. And some amazing things happen when you bring the clay in. Everybody's heard of people with digestive problems. We've probably heard of gluten intolerance, of celiac disease, of Crohn's disease, and many times when people have digestive issues, they can actually have in their digestive tract things that have been left over, some toxins, maybe from food they eat or food that is, unfortunately gone putrid, or some bad things just in their digestive tract. And I kind of use the analogy of it's like nails in a tire. If you've been driving for a long time, there's a chance you may have run over a few things that you didn't want to. And if you've been had really thin tires or a bad digestive tract, you could have a lot of those nails in there. And normally when people talk about digestion, unfortunately, really the strategy has been, and I've been in the health industry now for over 20 years, since I was back in pre-med in the university. But when I was introduced to nutrition and got all excited about health, when we talk about digestion, our strategy has always been, well, let's not irritate it anymore. Let's go for a gluten-free diet, or changing the diet, or doing something with the diet. And over time, we hope that the body heals itself. But we haven't had anything to really pull those nails out until I was introduced to this calcium bentonite clay. And some of the stories here are absolutely amazing. The person that I first met with was telling me this story and shared it with myself. And Todd Smith took this information that this gentleman had shared, and he went, and one of the first people he had to try it was his niece. And his niece had been one of those with very, very bad skin. In fact, she would itch so much that every night since she was a baby, and she was almost 8, every night she would wake up scratching, and her parents would have to put cream on her. And you'd see blood on the sheets. It was just a bad situation. She couldn't go swimming. She didn't like to take baths or anything, just because there was so much skin irritation. And so internally, they started to give her 1 teaspoon of this twice a day. And when it happened is within just a few weeks, she started to sleep through the night. And now it's been probably 3 months since that time. And she said they've had a few bouts of reoccurrence, but it's like three bouts or so in 3 months. It is so much better from using the clay, where you can pull those toxins and trap them and then bring them out when you go to the restroom, right? So when I talk about this, one of the things I want you to understand is the more toxic it is, the greater the polar effect, the greater the effect is of pulling that in and capturing it. I actually had the chance to talk with one of the gentlemen that's an expert on this, the one that introduced to us, David Smith, and he explained that when you look at positive versus negative charges, because this calcium bentonite clay, and it's very unique, it's 100% pure. Now, we talked about this volcanic ash, right? It's very, very rare to find 100% pure volcanic ash with just one substance, the calcium bentonite clay. In fact, most of the time you find any kind of clay, there's other things in it. There's other impurities. There can be other minerals mixed in. There's going to be a number of other things. But this one source is the only commercially viable source of 100% calcium bentonite clay they found on the planet. And one of the things that's been very, very interesting is clay is a necessary component for an oasis. If you have a desert and there's an oasis in the middle of the desert, now not a mirage, right? Not just a pretend oasis, shall we say, but an actual oasis. Where that happens is where there's clay, and the clay will actually hold water in so that it doesn't sink down deep into the earth, and that's where you get an oasis, is where they have these clay pockets. And it's just amazing how Mother Nature really regards this clay. And many times when you look at animals that have pike in cribbing, they have some kind of cravings, they go to clay places of clay and chew on that. We used to have sometimes expecting women many, many decades or centuries ago for a supplement. Some of them would add clay. They'd use clay to a lot of the animal formulas, to beef up what's in the animal formulas. Even if they didn't understand all the chemistry, they understood that when they gave clay to the animals, they were healthier. And so we can use clay too. And of all the sources of clay on the market, there's a lot of them. In fact, I say almost everyone you're going to find, other than from this one location, everyone you're going to find is going to say not for internal use. But our clay is very unique because our clay has what's called a GRAS certification, GRAS, generally regarded as safe, which means there's no limit to how much you can take. There's no toxic effects. You can take as much as you want internally according to the FDA, and that's the highest safety rate that we can find, is that this GRAS rating, and our clay has it. And that's one of the things that's amazing. Now, having said that, when we talk about internal use, understand they say you can take as much as you want. You need to take as much as you need. And when we talk about need there, because it is a calcium bentonite clay, and for those that understand digestion a little bit, calcium and magnesium have this balance. If you get a little constipated, you need a little more magnesium, or cut back on your calcium. If you go the other way, you need a little more calcium. So you can actually use this to adjust the amount you're taking according to bowel movements. And I wish there was a cleaner way to say that, how much you feel like you need to go to the restroom and go number two. But this is one where you can ease into it, and we suggest that you ease into it to start with. But as it pulls those toxins out, a lot of people see such great results with how their digestion feels, with the nutrients they're getting in the body. And we know how nutrients work. If you don't absorb them, they don't work. And by pulling the toxins out, now we're getting more nutrition that can be absorbed through the villi in our small intestine, and it's great. Now, on the skin, there's two things we can do. We can take the powdered clay and mix it up in water and put it in, but there's actually a better way to do that, and that is here with the clay mask. And I love the clay mask. And why is it better? Well, one of the reasons it's better, the clay has an interesting property because of the negative ionic charges and the shape of the molecules. They're not shaped round, they're not shaped like pyramid, they're shaped flat like a credit card. And when you get all of these stacked in, I don't know if anybody's ever um, put Legos together and you stack them up, as you get them tall and you push on it, it'll wiggle a little bit. Well, you can take the clay and tap on it, and it feels like almost that it's jello. It jiggles there. And I love that jiggling effect, but that means it's in this colloidal state. It's spread out to a maximum efficacy. So as fantastic as the powdered clay is, you're actually going to get even better results if you use the detox mask when you're using it topically, because it's in that colloidal state. It's already pre-mixed. Now, you can get it in the colloidal state. They say if you let it sit for about 24 hours, you let it sit for a day. And one of the products that we haven't even mentioned, many of you have not tried, but I've actually had the opportunity to get a little sample bottle, is one that's coming out called Kale. And Kale means earth in Fijian. And that will be the name of the liquid clay product. And you can probably see this. It's going to be in a nicer, cleaner bottle because, with Wakaya Perfection, it's got to be a step up. You look at the Fiji water, you look at the bottles for our supplements, you can tell that there's a difference there. And we want the image to be reflective of the quality inside. But you see this amazing clay, it's one of the things I love about it. There's very little taste to it. So even though it's clay, it's really not like drinking dirt. It's like drinking water, but it has a little bit of substance to it. Now I just drank that in, and hopefully you can see how clean this is, right? There's not a lot of clay in the bottom, and that's because what happens is it actually kind of binds to itself and pulls it in, and you can use that to bind those toxins. So I love that about the clay. So again, as great as this is, when you get the kale, and it'll be again in a nicer, cleaner bottle. But when you get that, it will be even better on the inside. And one of the things we haven't talked about internally is what can happen in the villi is it pulling these toxins out, because it actually physically can get in between the villi, and it's not like a harsh cleanse. It's not like when you're going to have to sit there on the toilet for a 3-day weekend. It's not that, but because it gets in there, it can also have an effect on what's called leptin. Leptin levels are hormones that are in the body that control how full you feel. And when you have things getting pulled out of your villa actually says, hey, wait a minute, there's a bunch of stuff in here, and you're not as hungry. And many people are finding that. Then, in addition to the detox, they can use this with their weight loss regimen to augment the other weight loss products with Wakaya Perfection. And so that's one of the things we love about that. Now, on the skin, when we do it on the skin, I'm going to just show you something that I have learned recently has been very effective, and I'm actually starting to see a difference. I don't know if anybody's had a scar. We talked about, remember, that healing, but I was meeting with David Smith, and he said, if you have an old scar, you might want to start putting the clay on that scar, and as it pulls those toxins out and rejuvenates the skin, you can actually see the scarring start to and it disappears. So what the recommendation, if you're up for it, if you want to get the best results, take your Wakaya Perfection essential oils, especially the peppermint, put one drop, and I just put one drop there, rub it on, and hopefully you can see the scar. I'm going to probably try to show you this there. Now this scar, you might see, used to be from here down to here, and it's shrinking in size. But you can just take some of the clay afterwards and rub it on. Now I've done this. I just rolled up my sleeve and did it. And let's say I get some of this on my clothes. Am I really that worried about getting the clay on my clothes? No, there's nothing in it that's going to stain. And when I wash it out, if anything, they say as it goes down the drain, because of that negative ionic charge, it can actually help pull off some of the positive ions that maybe are caked on your pipes or something. So, some beneficial effects if it gets in the laundry, if you would. Not that I would be dumping my clay down the drain, because I think there's a lot better uses of it. But, some of it's going to go down the drain. And what you'll find is as you rub that on, and many of you can see that I've rubbed that on here. As that hardens, as it starts to dry, it's going to pull those toxins in, and you're going to get this tingling effect. Many of you have seen that. You've got this tingling effect, and that tingling effect are those cells waking up. It's those nerves that are being stimulated, and that's part of that process of pulling this bad stuff out and making it so we can get the good stuff in. And that's why I just love it. Now, in the bath, these are not just topically that you can use a little bit. You can use it all over your body. Anybody ever want to get rid of toxins from their skin? Anybody want to get rid of oils? Just taking a couple of tablespoons, or even if you want to really be luxurious and have like a mud bath, right? You do a couple of cups of water in your bath, and you can get this whole incredible. It's not a mud bath; it's even better. It's the Wakaya Perfection clay bath, and it works incredibly well with the ginger bath soak, if you would, with the Wakaya sea salt and the ginger put together. It's amazing. And if you you don't have the time to do an entire bath, you can always do a foot bath. Put a little bit of the clay with the ginger together, and it makes for an amazing foot bath to help pull toxins out. Right. So we can take it inside to detox and digest. And this detox is a big deal. And that's one of the reasons that in addition to our clay products, that are just the clay, we've actually added it with our amazing carrier for the Bula bottles. Because how many times do we go out throughout the day and we eat something that's not organic, or we have food that maybe has something that's genetically modified, or maybe something with some chemicals in it, and we want to get those chemicals out of our system? Well, in that case, that's great that we can put it in our Bula bottles, and we can mix it with other things. I actually have in my Bula bottle right now the slim caps, as well as the detox caps, and they're mixed together, and I love the taste. It tastes great, and I can get this into my youngest kids without any problem. In fact, my youngest, my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old, they both look at that liquid clay that we drink, and they ask for chocolate milk, and I give it to them, and because it kind of looks like chocolate milk, they drink it, and my 2-year-old's like, good, good. And I love that because I can now help pull toxins out and don't have to give them all the sugar for it. And so I just love this ingestible clay. But you do have to adjust it according to how your body's going. So if you're a little plugged up, don't be afraid to cut back a little bit. If you need to kind of slow things down when you go, then don't be afraid to increase it. There's some great ways to use the clay. And again, I'm very excited for the Kale that comes out. Now, detoxifying. Here's one of the amazing things. If you want to feel better, if you want to rejuvenate yourself, there are so many pressure points in the foot that relate to other parts of the body. Many of you have had a foot massage before. Do you know they actually do this in spa treatments where they do a foot mask and they put the clay on their foot and it pulls the toxins out, wakes those cells up. And that actually can signal to a lot of other parts of the body as those cells are waking up and the nerves get stimulated, that other parts of the body start to wake up and become more active as well. So if you've had a hard day, I'm going to give you what I call the foot spa challenge, right? If you've had a hard day, come back and grab your peppermint oil, your Wakaya Perfection peppermint oil. Take 1 to 2 drops, rub them on the bottom of your feet, and then take your clay mask and rub it on the bottom of your feet and let it soak all of those toxins in. Now, why did we use the oils before? When I talk about doing this for even better results, why did we use the oils before? And I don't do it around the eyes just because with the peppermint, it can really sting the eyes. We don't want to do that around the eyes, but I can do it when I did it on my scar. I can do it when I do it on my feet because the peppermint helps to kind of open up circulation and get things started there. And when there's more circulation, you can actually pull more toxins out, right? And you get more of that waking up the cell, more of that good stimulation, and then you put the clay on. And as the clay then now is pulling those toxins out, a lot of people just get such incredible relief in how they feel, how tired they are. I don't know if you're aware of it, but when there are toxins in your blood, we feel tired. And anybody who's known people that have had kidney issues, one of the issues with kidneys is if they're not cleaning out the blood, people get tired very, very quickly. They can be very lethargic. And that's why it's so important to have great detox abilities. Our bodies have a lot of organs that are designed for detox and even more that are designed for digestion. So digestion and detox always go hand in hand. And here with this one product, we're able to impact both. But remember, it works the best if we use it in conjunction with the ginger and the turmeric. The other thing is to help with the detox. The clay is not going to pull toxins out of your blood because it doesn't get into your blood. But if your blood comes to the surface of your skin, it can pull things out there. And that's why that circulation increase can be very nice. That's also why it can help with the circulation increase. And that's why with the ginger and turmeric together is they're releasing toxins and it goes through the blood. It can not only get through the kidneys, but it gets close to the surface. You can pull it out with the clay, and any toxins that are in the digestive tract, the clay can help with. And so these we love to do. And if you're doing a facial mask, one of the things I love to do, and I'm going to do just a little bit of it right here, because sometimes in the morning I'm getting ready and I don't have time to maybe do a whole mask like I'd like to, but I said I'm going to be getting ready, and I love to take just a little bit of the clay and put it around these areas and just do it here. Now if you really want to get into it, and I'm going to leave this on for the rest of the presentation, then I'm going to go wipe it off. But I love to, especially around, if any of you women or men know that oftentimes aging can be seen here around the eyes because we smile a lot. It's easy to get creaks and crevices there. And if you can make those cells around the eyes here, if you can make those younger, it can make a big difference. And so I love to use that there. And they say if you have something on your foot, for example, and you want to get even more positive impacts, you can put this on a light mask over your foot and put your sock on when you go to bed. And you wake up in the morning, there's no clay in the bed because it's under the sock, but you take your sock off, wash your foot off, and you've had the effects of the clay being able to pull those out overnight while you were sleeping. And so that's another use for it. And my wife was just telling me just this morning before this webinar, and I say this morning because I'm actually coming from Tokyo, Japan, and it's morning here. And she was saying that she needs to start doing more of this clay because in America it was so easy. She'd do it before the kids go to school, and it was great. Here the schedule, we're still getting adjusted, but she says it makes such a big difference for her when she uses this clay mask. She just falls in love with it. And I tell you, that's a big deal for me because when I first introduced it to her, she didn't jump on it right away. In fact, she said she had another mask product that she used, and it was one of those that has like a paper mask you put on and then you just pull it off. You don't have anything to wash. And she's like, why would I have to wash my face afterwards? I just want to be able to use the mask and have it done with. And it took me a couple of weeks to, and I said, you don't have to like it, but I'd like you to just try it. Try it one time. And she not only tried it one time, she tried it probably every day for about a week after that. And she'd use it about 80 to 90% of the time she'd be using this mask, and she just loves the way it makes her skin feel. So if you want younger looking skin, if you want younger feeling skin, why not help your skin detox? And as it detoxing those the cells wake up, we can do some amazing things. And if you really want to give it even better results afterwards, don't be afraid to use some of our other products. We have the clay that's actually with the moisturizer, and after those toxins have been pulled out, it's a great time to put those moisturizers on. And some of you, if you know people with acne, there's actually an acne relief roller ball that after you do the clay, now your skin's ready to absorb, just roll that on. And if you have somebody that has sore joints, why not detoxify first and pull some of that inflammation toxins out, and then put, let's grab the pain relief ball, and the pain relief ball, roller ball, you can grab this, and after you take the clay pack and wash that off, then you can rub that right on wherever that the pain is and the inflammation is, and you're going to get better penetration. That's one of the things you can do to kind of get the best results working together with this clay, and it's just an amazing, amazing product there. So another use is many people actually use this, and this is I think the picture is a little darker than it should be. Our clay is actually, the pure clay is actually more of this color, as you can see. But you can put it on your toothbrush, and as you brush your teeth, you can help to pull those toxins out. I actually had the opportunity to speak with one young lady who was a smoker, and generally from a lot of smoking, people can get yellow teeth, but her teeth were very, very white. And she actually says she uses our calcium bentonite clay when she brushes her teeth. And maybe you don't do that every day, but do it sometimes and see if you can't feel those results with that. Body wraps. Now, here's a thing for a body wrap. Now, a body wrap is different from just doing a pack. This is where you put it on and then you wrap it. You use saran wrap, plastic wrap. You can use something like an ace bandage, but typically saran wrap. And what will happen is as the skin now isn't breathing because it's wrapped up, and obviously don't do it around your head, but you could do it on your legs and see what that'll do is it pulls those toxins out, and that's added heat that's generated where your body now starts to perspire and push the toxins out as well as pulling them out. There can be a very slimming effect where you're pulling that excess water weight off, and you're able to fit in clothes that you weren't able to fit in. There's a lot of things that you can do with these body wraps, and so I think this is one that's great. We ought to have some where we actually have like a Wakaya Perfection clay spa where you can go there and they'll do these body wraps for you. You can take the detoxify it and clay bath. These are all things that we can do. And again, after we do it, now your skin's ready to absorb other nutrients. Oh, I'm starting to feel that. I put that here on my cheeks and I'm starting to feel that tightening. I just love that. I was like, oh yeah, having the skin tighten up. How many people pay a lot of money for surgical procedures to do that don't ever fix the underlying problem, that don't ever make your skin healthier, that don't get rid of toxins? All they do is cut into the body and they pull things back and throw the excess away, and you look, maybe they look better, but it's a big expense. It's some stress on the body, and nothing's really improved as far as your health goes. That's why I love these, where we can make a positive difference. And you can use it on various spots. You can use it on a whole side. You can use it on both. If you're doing this at a home party, one of the things that's nice to do is do it on half the face first and let them feel the difference. Again, use the Sava moisturizer afterwards. And when they feel the difference, then it's real easy for them to say, wow, that's amazing. And then, probably let them do the other side before they leave so that it's balanced, right? But for somebody that's really into this, I actually saw one lady, and I think this would be a wonderful thing if somebody wants to try it. Well, for 30 days, they just did half of their face, just half of their face, and saw a difference. I was doing that on the back of my hand because I always do this at every presentation I do. I love people to experience the clay when they feel it on their back of the hand, and those toxins get pulled out. One of the things that's amazing is interest goes up. You see the products are working here with just a demonstration. So every time I'm doing a meeting, I like to have the share the clay out and have people try it on the back of their hand. And I was doing it on the back of my hand where I was doing meeting night after night after night. And after 1 week, one hand versus the other, I'm like, wow, there's a huge difference. And all I was doing is during the meeting, I do it on the back of my hand to show everybody that they can do it on the back of their hand as well. So that's another great use of the clay. Remember, with Wakaya Perfection, it's all about making a difference with people. It's all about people. We call that the Wakaya way. And these are some of the products that we use to help make a difference with people. And so for you and your family and the people you care about, we invite you to use the power of the clay, whether it's in the clay caps, the detox caps, which again, one of our best-selling products. We love this. The powdered clay that you can mix up yourself, the clay mask here that I just used on, and I love this one because for its ease and convenience. And the up and coming in a much nicer bottle, the liquid clay. All of these are fantastic clay products, and you're going to see more and more things that we do, along with like the moisturizer, where we will put together combinations using these with essential oils, yeah, like the peppermint, using the before we use the pain relief roller balls. You're going to see more and more uses of this amazing clay just because it's so good. Many people are already mixing in their smoothies, and we're loving the effects we get when we impact people. So for everybody that is on this webinar, that's been on this call, let me say Vinaka, or which is thank you in Fijian. Let me say thank you for being on here, for learning this information with us, and thank you for all you do to help share this information and make a positive difference in the lives of other people. Remember, the Wakaya way, it's all about the people. Thank you so much for being on with us. Everyone, have a great night. Vinaka.